Hi, everyone. It's Lisa Norell. It is December 11th, and welcome to the live stream. It is going to be a great weekend here in Northern Virginia, and today I get to spend part of it talking with a Silicon Valley marketing guru, Meagen Eisenberg. She's going to be joining us pretty soon. We've also been pretty busy over here. We've been working on a number of new courses for our CMO communities. We just spent the afternoon yesterday with Guy Kawasaki in our private groups. So we've been really doing quite a bit of fun things over here. So if you're joining us, remember to tell us where you're from and be sure that you share your questions with us live. We're simultaneously broadcasting on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So without further ado, let me talk a little bit about our agenda today. We've had a mix in our community of CMOs between CMOs who are seeing their marketing budgets blossom, and then we have CMOs who are seeing their marketing budgets shrink. So wherever you're sitting on that side of the spectrum, today you're going to get some great ideas from Meagen on how to make the most of your marketing budgets and some of the lessons Meagen has learned from the pandemic. Meagen is the CMO today of TripActions in Northern California, and she and I have stayed in touch over the years, and she has been touted as one of the top go-to-market talents in the world and a dynamic leader. In addition, she's worked at prize-winning companies. DocuSign, MongoDB, and now TripActions. And what makes Meagen unique, in addition to being a mother of two and making it through the pandemic, she has 13 successful exits under her belt and 3 IPOs since 2011. So, not exactly a slouch, we'll put it that way. And one of the things that I also noticed recently is that the CEO of MongoDB was interviewed on CNBC and reported an 800% jump in the stock. So how do you like that for picking winners? Let's welcome Meagen to today's live stream. Meagen, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yes. How are you doing out in Northern California? How's the family doing?
My girls are doing well. Husband's doing well. We're in lockdown, so it's, they're closing things back up. We enjoyed some outdoor eating for a while, but you make do, you adjust.
Yes, I remember we joked about 3 months ago, and we said you had said that a couple of your friends had actually up and moved to Hawaii. Have you had thoughts about that, or?
It's not a bad idea. Their kids are in school. They go to school every day. Same, we had a family move to Austin. Their kids are in school to down to Arizona, Scottsdale. So I have to admit, I'm a little envious that my girls are homeschooling still, but we hope to get them back in the classroom in January.
Yes, fingers crossed. And so much positive news coming out from all the companies who participated in Operation Warp Speed.
Yes. Yeah. I can't wait to get the vaccines out. I think that's a good sign. We'll have them to our healthcare professionals by the end of the year, and then more mainstream. I would think by June, all of us who want them will get them.
Yes, looking forward to that very much. Let's talk. By the way, we have some people checking in today, Meagen. So far, we have David from Northern Virginia, and we have Camelia from Sweden. So
wow, great.
I know you are in the travel business, so It's always nice to know that your impact is global in scope.
Yes, it is.
So we'll be taking questions along the way. And tell us what is the current state of your marketing organization in terms of how you've designed your work environment for them in this current lockdown in California?
Yeah, so we're all remote. We've got, I have a team actually all around the world. And if we were going into the office, they'd go into our different offices. We've got Seattle, we've got some folks in Texas and Wisconsin and New York and London and Sydney. But we have a lot of check-ins, a lot of communication. We have a weekly marketing all hands where we're running through the plays and what we're working on, what our goals and focus. I've got a marketing leadership meeting where we're just checking in with the team. We're doing Zoom walks to make sure people are getting outside, getting some sunshine, fresh air. About every other week, we're doing a happy hour. So I think it's really important that we check in and just communicate and keep everyone on the same page. When you're not in person, I think you can lose some of the in-person connections that you need. And right now, I think people need people more than ever. So just a lot of communications. And as a company, we do a weekly all hands as well to make sure we're all connected.
Yeah, that's great. I love that idea of Zoom walks.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. You see everyone, they're out and about. Some bring their kids, some bring their dogs, some are going to parks, some are in apartment buildings, out on their patio, deck. It's just, I think it's a good way to, we need the sun. If it's sunny in your area, you need a little vitamin D.
Yes, we have some here today. And believe me, I will be getting outside later. And then I'm heading over. I go once a week to Orange Theory because it's a very big space.
Oh, smart.
And a very limited number of people. So I'm one of those people that I'm willing to, stay socially distant and get out. And actually, I have to see some human beings once a day.
I agree.
I just have to.
Yes.
And speaking of travel, let me know, what was the state of TripActions in terms of what you provided before COVID and what happened during the pandemic, where you started to look at your positioning and your growth strategy very differently?
Yeah, as soon as I think any crisis hit or change hits in the industry, you go direct to your customers to see what they need. And we have been very close to our travel managers and customers to find out. So when it started to spread around the world, we needed to bring them all back home. So we need to give them the right visibility and reporting. We needed to stop travel so people didn't travel to a region that was an issue. So we built a lot of reports for that and communications. Information was key. We did an integration with the CDC and Johns Hopkins so they could get real-time information on reproduction numbers, regulations, quarantines, right into the product to make better decisions. We improved our approval flows. So you could, you want to make sure only essential folks are traveling during certain times, and your policies are starting to get updated. And so we just did a lot of work on the product for what our travel managers needed, and then our CFOs and finance persona and what they needed, because all of a sudden they have all these unused tickets, right? Tens of millions of dollars of flights. You need to track those. And so we gave them all the reports they needed to track them. And then we built the functionality to automatically apply it when someone goes to book future travel. And so from a marketing standpoint, not only when you build the product, you've got to go launch it and make sure all the users are aware of it. And the tone changed really in the market, right? We went from the best experience in business travel and nobody's having a good experience with COVID to what do you need? You need traveler safety and cost control. So, in the last 9 months, our tone changed, our product evolved, and our messaging really needed to go with that to make sure our customers had what they needed.
And I want to also punctuate the process, not the process that you went through, but maybe the timeline compared to your 2 decades now as a marketing leader and an award-winning demand gen executive. I want you to illustrate for our viewers the typical timeline it would have taken to do that kind of shift. I'm not going to say pivot, please. I'm so tired of the word pivot. So you made the shift maybe 2 years ago if you were with MongoDB or another company, and the typical time it would take then versus the time it took this year.
Yeah, I think you would typically, if you're going to change your messaging, adjust your product, have more personas, you're looking at least a quarter, 2 to 3 months. We did it in about 5 days. And it was a Friday night. We're building this product over the weekend. I need you to launch it Monday to all our customers. But then we had to quickly evolve the website. We had to update all the messaging on multiple pages of the website, all our email communications, social media, all our outreach sequences. We had to create a new sales enablement deck, a new deck to go to market with, and new positioning. The amount of, we really just audited all the content we had just created in the last year. We needed to audit anything that was automated. We need to update, stop it, update it, then resequence it. So it was an incredible amount of work by the team to audit, rewrite everything. And then the systems and web team had to get it out on the website and in the hands of all of our, customer success managers, our sales reps, our SDRs. So huge effort. Not something I want to live through again. Definitely a pressure cooker situation for everyone. And then we realized we launched a community in about 2 days or 3 days because all these people had questions about COVID, about travel. We got our suppliers and partners, the hotels that we work with, all the airlines we work with, all were getting on, answering questions, posting their policies. And so we launched a new community on vanilla forums. So we had to, go buy the software, implement the software, get the content going, and then invite all our customers, influencers, and partners to contribute content and answer questions that were coming in. So that was a very, fast pace. I would not have done that in 2 or 3 days. It didn't look very pretty, I will say, the first week. And then over time, we designed it better. We laid it out better. We had a content calendar, but it was more a sense of urgency. I think the great part about it is we have a community now. And we didn't take forever to do it. We didn't overthink it, right? It was just go. And so the benefit is that we have a community. The other thing we launched in April was a whole academy of courses. And so we've got over 26 courses now. We did 2 a week and all about best practices, certification for travel managers. And we incorporated all the new things that you would need in a post-COVID world and to get everyone back to business, and a lot around policy management, duty of care, taking care of your travelers while they're on the road. So I think it showed us what we could do. Like, it's amazing what you can do with a deadline or a crisis. And definitely the team built a lot of product. And we were going through a time where we did have to go through a layoff. We're a usage-based model, and travel went to pretty much zero around the world. And so, building and shifting everything while also having to let go a significant portion of the marketing team. You got to keep morale up and motivations and focus. And we're in a pandemic, people are figuring out how to work from home. So it was, I'm really proud of the team and how they pulled through it. And now we're just coming out the other side, with the news of the vaccine, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And feel it, like a weight has been lifted, just having an end state to this. So,
it is incredible. I know there is, we cannot underestimate the level of enthusiasm around this. And you had your own version of Operation Warp Speed by the way in which you launched so much in so little time. How much did you have to persuade your team members that it's about success, not perfection? How many people needed coaching?
We were in a war room. I don't think we had to convince. My team just got it. They were focused. They understood what was at stake, what our customers needed. We have a very strong, we just have a very strong team, good work ethic, good attitude. Many of us have worked together over the last decade. And so it's sort of like, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's your role, go. And we'll come back together. And if we make a mistake, we'll fix it and we'll iterate, but let's just not overthink it and get it out the door. And I think the world is very forgiving during this time too. So, there was certainly stuff out there around people being tone deaf, and maybe we didn't get everything right on our side either, but we certainly, our hearts were in the right place to get stuff to market and to fix what we were doing out there, but keep the company going.
Oh, I know you have to. And we are seeing the same thing here. One of my recent live stream guests mentioned that Tractor Supply had to launch a few contactless payment capabilities at their various retail outlets, and there were some glitches. And you know what? They did it in a couple of weeks, and customers were not upset. Sure, they said there were some problems, but we're going to work through this.
Yeah.
And if it can happen at Tractor Supply, it can happen for all of you who are watching right now that run B2B companies. The same principles can apply.
Yes.
And the sometimes even delivering a portion of the capabilities your customers need is better than sitting back and waiting for the full Monty to be available.
Yes. Yeah, it's so true. And if they know your heart's in the right place and you're making progress and you're listening, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, we have. So one of my friends lives up in Atherton, is Guy Kawasaki, and he was with us yesterday, and he came in and spoke to our marketing growth leaders, which is our private community of CMOs and VPs of marketing. And one of the things he was talking about was that for the first 3 months of the pandemic, he never went out. So he and his family only used Instacart.
Wow.
They did not go to the grocery store. And he said, I remember Safeway before the pandemic, you could go in and you had, probably 87 different kinds of peanut butter. You had everything from Jif creamy to all the way through to Jif chunky and Jif GMO. And then you had some really obscure brand that was organic, that was made by singing Tibetan monks who wore Birkenstocks. And he said, when we ordered our peanut butter and we asked for, a 64-ounce jar of Jif, Instacart ended up delivering us a 16-ounce jar of Skippy. And he said, you know what? I didn't care. I was just perfectly happy that we got our peanut butter.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Good is good enough.
Yeah.
I'll say the same thing with toilet paper. You found toilet paper during that time. Good was good enough. It might not have been Charmin or Extra Soft or 72 rolls or whatever it is.
Exactly. So the question for our audience is, where are you able to deliver good enough peanut butter? What's your peanut butter moment with your customer right now?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think good enough peanut butter. I mean, we still have travelers traveling, so making sure we've got the inventory they need, the hotels and the flights. I would say there's obviously less flights as airlines have consolidated routes or had less of them. I think there's less choice because there's less people flying and they have economies that they have to do as well. But making sure they have their loyalty programs that they need with they still have the airlines they want. They still have some choice in routes, I guess would be our peanut butter version.
Yeah.
But, we have travel agents that are servicing our travelers. We're at 20% levels. Different industries are traveling right now. We saw certainly a shift. Tech may not be traveling as much, but manufacturing's traveling, retail, financial services, healthcare certainly is traveling. So it's interesting to see that the different types of companies that are still traveling through this just by nature of their business. And so our agents are still servicing those essential travelers.
Oh, that's great. And I want to also ask you about business travel as it relates to home sharing. Yesterday was a big day on Wall Street. Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnb.
My friend Chip Conley had a nice payday.
Yeah.
Yay, Chip Conley. Chip Conley's going to be with us in January, by the way.
Wow.
And Chip, he's been advising the co-founders of Airbnb for the last 7 years. And what's interesting is that their valuation is over 100 billion, and with a B, and amazing. What's Airbnb teaching you about the future of business travel and TripActions' own strategies for growth?
Yeah, I think it's a statement on the future. We will get back to traveling. They may not even be forecasting 2021. They're really looking out at 2022. But as humans, we have a desire to travel. We need human connection, and there's demand for it. And we'll continue to, offer all the things that people want when they travel, whether it's hotels or rental cars or rail or airline. People still are traveling. Personal travel is still happening, even more than business travel, and they're recovering because of that desire. So yeah, I mean, it's just, there's hope in it. You see a lot of investment still in travel. It's really not going away. I think we'll be at 50% levels by Q2. I think we'll be 75% levels by the end of the year. The way we travel will look different. We may have remote locations and we may have distributed workforce, but at the end of the day, they're going to need to come together. So maybe our offices are going to look like work groups, or they're going to look like meeting spaces, because you're going to bring your team together, and you're probably going to travel more because everyone's going to have to get into the office. And so if you've got people all over the United States that need to come to your office in Palo Alto or Austin or Dallas or New York, they're going to end up flying in, they're going to need a place to stay, and they're going to need meeting spaces. So we think meetings and events are going to become huge as you bring your workforce together.
Well, there's a lot of scenario planning going on right now. One of the scenarios that I'm hearing that's surfacing is that it'll be just like after the Spanish flu of 1918, where there was so much pent up energy and so much loneliness that when the pandemic did subside, people, it was the roaring 20s.
Yeah.
And people went crazy at, concerts and parties and gatherings. And so that's one scenario. Another is people like me. I've been working from home for 21 years. Some people may say, no, I love to go to the office 1 or 2 days a week, but I kind of like working from home. Mm-hmm. So I talked to a multi-billion-dollar commercial real estate company today, and they said, we're preparing for completely retooling so much of our commercial space and doing some fire sale purchases as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thought of this distributed workforce, where you'll bring, people will need to come together to meet. They may not have a desk, they may not have a permanent desk, but they're going to need a place to come in and put their stuff, to meet with their teams. You may see also, as we shift to less expensive areas to live, salaries may change with that, right? You can hire people in other locations where cost of living's lower and salaries are lower. So that may also change everyone's salary structure based on where they live and who they have to compete with now in the market. You're not just in the Bay Area with very expensive talent and cost of living. If you can hire anywhere in the United States, you're going to maybe hire less expensive, people. I don't know what that's going to look like. So good and bad, right? Our salaries may go down if we are moving somewhere less expensive, but then our costs are down. So it makes sense.
Yes. And if Elon Musk had to move because he needed a raise, so he moved to Texas.
10% to Texas. I'm born in Texas. I love Texas.
Yeah. So Elon Musk got an automatic raise this week. And we also just got a note from Jim Rogers. Hey, Jim, it's good to see you here. And Jim's from Northern Virginia. We also have a message from someone asking about loving the urgency for customer caring. Meagan, talk to us about how fast fails and how the team addressed that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly as you're out there, you're testing an ad or you're running a topic or you get a response, you shift right away. I'm an example. It was 9/11, and we often will take our logo and make it into different shapes. Like for Thanksgiving, it's an apple pie and a turkey, the circle pie, and we do different things. And so we wanted to do something for 9/11 with, and we're about airplanes, and we often will put airplanes in our circle and towers. And someone wrote, that looks like the planes are flying into the towers. And I had never seen it. I didn't see it that way at all. We immediately took it down. That was not our intent. Like those sort of things that people respond differently to images. And, our heart was in the right place, but clearly that came across to someone wrong. And so we just, we changed it and apologized for it. And I think that's, you have to lead with what you think is right. And if you've done something wrong, own it and fix it. And that's what we do, right? We're doing our best.
We sure are. And think about the number of companies, speaking of doing their best, who have actually suspended quarterly or annual performance reviews of their teams because of scenario planning. They have had to just change things up or put things on pause. I saw an announcement with Hilton, who recently did that. Their chief administrative officer announced, hey, we changed all our performance reviews until further notice, and we're just asking people 3 very basic questions about their performance and their well-being. What are you doing with your marketing team around establishing or monitoring performance, since I know transparency is such an important part of your philosophy of leadership?
Yeah, I don't think you wait for performance reviews to give feedback. I think you're always learning and growing, and that if you see something your team needs help on, that you let them know. I mean, it's about learning, and I think it's similar to a sports team, right? When you're playing on a sports team, if you need to practice passing or a corner kick or something, I played soccer growing up, you practice that skill. And sometimes your team needs to practice a skill. Maybe it's writing an email, maybe it's writing a blog, or it's an ad or something, right? And you're only going to get better if someone can help show you how to do it the right way, and then practice. And so I don't think you wait for a review cycle to do that. And certainly with my leaders, if I see something, we'll talk through it. I think you provide examples and models of excellence. Whenever I see something in the market that I love, I send it to my team. Hey, look at this. What a cool idea. What's our, how can we apply this to our business? What's our equivalent? I saw Sendosa was doing like the 12 days of gifting or something. I thought that's so fun. Like what can we do that's along these lines? And I think that matters. But yeah, if you don't, you're not doing your team a service if you don't give them the feedback they need. You're not growing them. They can't get better if you don't tell them. And if you're afraid to give them the feedback, you're not helping them, you're hurting them. So I think you need to do it, but it has to come from a place of trust. They have to trust you, and you have to care about them. And you're doing it because you care about them.
Yes, and I wonder how you think your own role as a leader, and even your own habits as a leader, are forever changed because of COVID.
Oh, I mean, I think compassion has been a huge one, just really understanding everyone's situation. I'm homeschooling kids. I've got people on my team homeschooling kids while working. It's hard and it's distracting. And, I worry about anyone who's taking on the workload, whether it's more women or men, that they're dropping out of the workforce because of it. And I'm worried we're taking a step back in so many ways because of that. And so anything you can do to create flexibility for your workforce right now that are trying to deal with so many different things, that you should. And if something's not right, find out what's going on, because most likely, there is something going on and they just need help or space or time or a break. So I think that's something top of mind, and how important it is for people to take a break. You need to take the weekend. You need to take a day off. You need to go sit in the sun and get some vitamin D, whatever that is. I think in this environment where people are isolated, they need more of that more than ever.
Yes, we absolutely are seeing the same thing. There is a business need that not everybody is willing to bring up when I talk to them. But when I'm calm and they trust me, the most persistent challenge people have right now is isolation and loneliness.
Sure, yeah.
And I very excited because I started to feel this was coming to a highest levels about a month and a half ago. And that's when I teamed up with Knowable and built a course just to help people right now build professional communities. So I know, we've got the vanilla softs of the world building those kinds of communities, but we believe that peer communities, very small groups, a dozen people or less, can have some tremendous impact on our mental well-being. And it's a great way for people to maintain some career progression. So we're excited about that. So let's talk a little bit about, if you don't mind, we'll get a little granular here. I'd like to know what you're doing in terms of your budget for next year. In terms of, look, now you've shifted your go-to-market strategy and your buyer profiles, ideal customer profiles, ICP. What's the ratio of branding and creative with your demand gen model at TripActions? How's that playing out?
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to next year. This year we had to cut the team in half and the budget cut in half. Next year I get to double the team and more than double the budget. And a lot of that is on brand and awareness. We launched TripActions Liquid, our expense management platform and tooling that goes hand to hand with travel. It's one platform, but it's in the payments and expense management space. And we're very much known for travel. We have over 4,000 customers and a lot of, we're going up market. So we have a lot more enterprise clients, but we're not as well known for that product that launched this year. So I think it's about it'll be about 50% awareness and branding and really focused on TripActions Liquid. So I'm excited. That's fun. That's a lot of fun to go after it. We're targeting the CFO and the head of finance and controllers who care a lot about their budgets and cost control and visibility to all their spend. And so, that's what we're looking forward to next year. I have about half my team focused on TripActions Liquid and half the team on our core travel product.
Oh, that's great. And the fact that you have new products is so important. It's a great time to be testing out and piloting those new offers.
Yeah, and what the team will be really focused on this year, there's no solution out there that has them all on one platform. You typically have to go buy a booking tool, you have a TMC agency, you have a payments, you have expense management, you have all these systems that you have to stitch together. We've got it on one platform. So I've got to figure out, how do I create that new category as a marketer? How do I talk about it in a way that resonates and then take it to market with a branding budget? So, we have two products. You could buy one or the other, or you could just buy the platform and you get them both. But I've got to figure out, how do we talk about ourselves? And it's not just the traditional travel manager, because we're also targeting finance. So I'm looking forward to doing a lot of branding work on that. And it's not trivial when you've got different personas. You're going up market into enterprise. You're creating a new category. You're going up against a bunch of different competitors that run all these different products. And so I think it's exciting. And with travel and everything coming back as we get out of this COVID period, we have our work cut out for us as a marketing and really as an overall company.
And we all do as marketers. I mean, we all have our work cut out for us. And with the right community and the right growth mindset, I think it's possible. And hey, let's face it, finance is now a superhero as well. I am best friends. I am best friends with my CPA and best friends with my bookkeeper to manage cash in a smart way, including my travel budget. So let's, keeping them in the loop on my progress and what my plans are for next year are critical. What are you hearing from your corporate clients about the date they plan on allowing business travel and conferences and trade shows to be in person again?
Yeah, so it really is, if you look at industries, our retail, Crate and Barrel, Wayfair, they're flying around traveling to their stores. So our retail clients are out there traveling, our manufacturing clients traveling, healthcare traveling. So I think that question may be more, if you think about our tech customers, they still have some essential travelers. Their CEOs are traveling, their finance departments are traveling, and their top sales reps are traveling. But if we really look at the core of the whole company, we're looking at Q2. A lot of them, which for us is would be the June, July timeframe, where we believe they'll be vaccinated, that they'll be out. They need to close business. Nobody's closing $1 million deals fast over the phone, right? It's the relationship deals that you need to go out. And that's why we see our sales leaders and reps traveling still. And then as far as events, we're going to run our event in September. We're at the Palace of Fine Arts. So a lot of people had deposits last year that are pushing to this year, and they look like they're booking all around July, August, September, October, which makes sense if the vaccine's out there and we start to travel, or at least even domestically within, even within a city. Think about it. If you live in San Francisco and you've had the vaccine, you're probably going to go. I certainly am. If someone invites me to a virtual conference versus an in-person and I just drive there, I'm going in person.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
I'm ready to have a nice meal, to see my colleagues. So I believe it's summer, end of summer, and the fall will be a busy event season again. They may not be the 10,000 events, 10,000 person events. I think they're going to be 500, 1,000 size events that are going to take off in the fall.
Yeah, I'm hearing about the same. My CMOs are saying we're going to start traveling again sometime between July and August is what they're hoping for.
Yes. Yeah. And I think you're going to get a good response because it's not going to be crowded, because people are going to wait too long, or they're going to be nervous. They're not going to put a deposit down, and they're not going to be ready to pull it off. So the marketers that are ready and get out there, I think they're going to actually get a better response than they would had this, not happened. And you have, you have a lot of competition for events pre-COVID. The fall was very hard to get. You could go to 50 events, right? So I think you could have a first mover advantage and if you do this summer, early fall, and you make, right location, people don't necessarily have to fly in. And you can get to the audience you want in a certain region.
Yes. And let's hope so, because isolation is becoming very old.
Yes, I agree.
Let's just face it. And you're in trouble when you start talking to your pets, which is something I've been doing all day. I do it all day, every day. And I now have started singing to him. So hey, I'm not shy. I am not afraid to tell people. I
have 3 Frenchies. I talk to them all the time.
And let's talk for a minute before we wrap up about your work as a board member. We have so many CMOs and executives who would love to serve on for-profit boards. And you're on the board now of Terminus, G2, and Reactful, I believe. So 3 board seats. Mm-hmm. First, are you providing any common value across all 3 boards where you're focused on similar topics with them, or any scenario planning lessons you're learning from the board perspective that could help our marketing leaders?
Yeah, I mean, all of these online personalization, web optimization, display ads are doing well. Think about it. 40% of our budgets were events. And all of a sudden you don't have events, but you still need to build pipeline and you need to show growth. And a lot of that's happening online. So, companies like Terminus that are doing display ads to your target, account-based marketing online, they're doing amazing. And same thing, G2, people are buying software like crazy. Everyone's remote. So you need technology to do your job more than ever. And so their platforms are doing really well. Reactful, same thing, website optimization. And so it's these the online MarTech companies are doing great. And we're talking a lot about how do you move really fast? Now is the time to take market share because your marketers are having to get a lot more technical very fast if they were not already. And they're having to find other ways to bring pipeline in. And so they're buying and testing technologies and they're shifting budgets to it and they're being creative. I mean, we're certainly thinking of all the different ways. We're not only using things like Terminus to market to travel managers and CFOs in our target accounts. I'm also marketing to my existing customers because you can use our product for personal travel. So if you're going to book a trip, why not book it, get the same inventory and discounts, but also a travel agent to support you. And it's free if you're a business client. So of course we're running, if you're going to book personal travel, use our product, and we're using Terminus ads to do that and get it in front of our customers. And then we don't have to bug them and email them. They'll see it as they're on Facebook or LinkedIn or anywhere that they're we're targeting and retargeting. So I think it's been an amazing opportunity for technology and certainly for MarTech.
Yes,
I got excited about that.
Yeah. And who owns the MarTech budget, or who owns the technology budget within TripActions? Is it a shared responsibility between you and IT, or do you truly have the authority over the whole stack?
Yeah, I truly have the authority over MarTech, and then sales has the authority over theirs. We have 46 technologies right now, and so I have a pretty significant budget of tech, and we work with procurement. They're very helpful, certainly in negotiating, but we do all the integrations. We do anything that needs to integrate into Salesforce or Marketo or even Eloqua. We've got both running. We're running that. We have a very technical marketing team, systems team.
Yes, that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, I've heard usually my CMOs will say, we have between 10 and 15, but 46 is certainly palpable.
Yes. Yeah. We're fans of the advantage of tech and you're getting data, then you're acting on the data. There's all these different channels and a lot of stuff's online, and we do a lot of partnership with sales as well. So yeah, I've always been a heavy user of marketing technology.
5 years from now, I wonder if there'll be no more MarTech stack. There'll just be a MarTech marshmallow. And the only company in the stack will be Salesforce.
Yes,
they'll be the Facebook of the MarTech world. But anyway, it's been so much fun getting to know you again, Meagan. It had been a few years since I saw you last.
Yes.
Any closing comments, or I should say advice, for marketing leaders who really want to be more results oriented, or really, really squeeze the lemon juice out of their budget lemon?
I always think, what do your customers need and how do they receive information? So I think that's an early win. If you don't have a lot of budget, I actually think influencers are a great way to go. They have the audience you want to get to. So can you brief them? Can you do a webinar with them? Can you have them tweet something or write a blog for you? So I am a big believer in influencers and educating them on your product. If you don't have a lot of funds, you're not spending money on events until the summer. So, take that money and figure out the online stuff.
Sounds great. Well, this has been a terrific day for being a mindful marketer and really leveraging our expertise and our resources in a smart way. Meagan, thank you for spending the time with us today. And I really wish you an aloha holiday, whether you end up in Hawaii or stay in California. I do wish you all very good health.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you, Meagan. And this is Lisa Norell reminding you all that you've been with us today to talk about how to optimize your marketing budget in 2021. And I'm so thrilled that we were able to spend time today with Meagen Eisenberg. I'll be here next week, and we have another exciting time planned. We are going to be inviting two very well-known leaders in the area of innovation and leadership. And I'm just going to show you really quickly who's going to be with us next week. and that is Susan Weber and Mr. Eric McCarthy. Eric has an amazing background with the Coca-Cola Company, overseeing mergers and acquisitions, and now a seasoned investor and advisor. And Susan Weber, the CMO of Walker and Dunlop. So it's going to be a fabulous session. I hope you guys can all join us next Friday for the Mindful Marketer live stream, December 18th. Until then, have a safe weekend, and we'll see you then.